1. For context, I'm a tiny, 4'10", 160 to 70 pound lady. I'm a mother. And I personally have quite a few years of working with and interacting with unsavory characters who are sometimes violent. So to say, I actually work best under pressure. I also have real bad social anxiety, so I'm always on high alert. So I roll up to Walmart, my husband's grandmother watching the baby at home, because I need to grab some things for the baby. I get my car, go about my business with the collecting of diapers, wipes, a new pack of pacifiers, etc. After my serious shopping ends, I wander to the female aisle where hygiene products for ladies are kept. I see a very awkward-looking gal looking at boxes of pads. She can't be much older than 10, and her sweats and tea give her away. I casually step over holding a box with fun designs on them. I say, "Here, try these. See this big word? It means you won't be allergic no matter what." And that's kind of important. Her shy red face lightens up with a little smile and she says, "Thanks, miss." Before darting off to tell a lady in nice clothes I'm talking a woman's suit dress nice, important later, near the shampoo, that a nice lady over there helped me find some of the hyperallergenic ones. I waved at the curious woman who smiled and waved back. As the daughter and mom go off on their own, I notice a weirdly twitchy, ungroomed man following them. I think nothing of it, as who am I to judge relationships? Except, if that was Mom's boyfriend, the post wouldn't be here, would it? I'm getting ready to leave after looking for a toy for my son, when I spot none other than Shy Girl, who has a scrunched up, angry, sad kid face. I'm about to speak when I fully round the corner and see Twitchy holding Shy Girl by the wrist, hard enough I can see the red mark forming from the corner of the aisle. I don't see Mom, and it hits me that this is not Mom's boyfriend, and Shy Girl is in danger. I dart over and snatch Shy Girl over to me, screaming in Twitchy's face, "Do you know this girl? What's her name? Where's her mother?" Problem is, Twitchy's got answers. I'm drawing a small gathering of onlookers now, and Twitchy is visibly more twitchy. He says, "I'm her uncle, damn it. Now give her here," and reached for Shy Girl. I toss her behind me, and then, on full autopilot, ready to fight, scream even louder, "Describe what her mother is wearing, then." Twitchy fucking freezes and starts muttering. After regaining his confidence, he hollers back with, "Blue jeans and a shirt, just like every other normal person." Crowd seems satisfied, and a few wander off thinking this is a mistake. Shy Girl starts crying as this guy's physically touching my chest with his, trying to get to her. I yell at the top of my lungs, "You're a liar and a pedophile." He screams, "I'm her guardian." Then, just as it came from heaven, I hear a shaking, angry but calm mother's tone say, "The problem with that is that I'm her mother, and I've never met you before." Fucking Mom to the rescue, I shit you not. My mouth flew open, watching the beige-clad businesswoman swoop in, like a gallant angel to rescue her offspring. Her finger is in his face. She backs him down like the savage animal mothers are. I could hear the deranged mom snarl from 8 feet away, clasping tightly to a child sobbing in relief, thanking me and praising her mother. The woman cleaved this man verbally, and security chased him out of the store. Sadly, he wasn't alone, so I was told, and made an exit. I gave Mom my number when she came back to thank me and collect her daughter. If that woman had anything, through her tears, she tried to give it to me. I've never seen a tiny 30-year-old woman heft and cradle a girl old enough to have PMS, not like Mom did. I told her the truth. I have a little boy, ma'am, and all I'd like is to get home to him. She seemed to wholesomely understand. I didn't actually buy anything, and my cart is probably still chilling in the toy aisle. I'll send my husband later. Now I'm going to go home and hold my son a while. Edit. Mom went to the police about it after dropping Shy Girl at school today. I just got a call from Mom asking if I minded corroborating her story, and to see if I can give the police a description. They've had sketchy activity involving Star 67 phone calls, and a few other things. They think Shy Girl is being stalked. Twitchy was about 5'6" to 5'10", as my chest barely scraped his. His hair was nape length, dark brown or black, and clearly unwashed, and his facial hair was scraggly the way singed hair is. His mouth and face were covered in big, infected-looking picked places, teeth chipped at a weird, rabbity angle. He had wild, dark brown, crackheadish eyes, with narrow tips but otherwise wide nose. His left eyebrow was notched, and he spoke with a ghetto lilt in his speech, and wore atypical ghetto clown get-up, and kept pulling up his pants. His hands were always in motion, literally always. He made me very nervous. At this point, I'm kind of using LNM to make sure I keep the record straight. I'll try to start responding daily, but as it is, I'm waiting on the police to call me. Edit 2. The police did follow up. I pretty much gave them a signed printout of his story. I still have contact with Mom, and Shy Girl has texted me a couple times about school and boys. I made a friend. So far, according to Mom, nothing has come of it. But police have let Mom know that video footage from Walmart has been collected for review. They've called me for a second follow-up this afternoon, basically just cross-referencing a few witnesses to my written statement, and checking my story's consistency, I guess. And I'm not even a little upset. I'm glad to see the job getting done. As it stands, there's been no arrests, but there are suspects being eyed. Mom has let me know this is absolutely an ongoing thing, and there are sightings of a weird adult showing up around Shy Girl's school and regular haunts. Friends noticed and told Mom and the police. Basically, if this guy even thinks too hard about it, he's prison jam. 2. This happened 4 years ago. I, 14, took my younger cousin, 9, to the park, with my then middle school boyfriend, 15. There were 2 parks in my neighborhood, one directly behind my house, and the other was behind and down the street. We ended up going to the one behind and down the street, which was at the end of a cul-de-sac, not super far from home, but far enough that we couldn't see the entrance to our street. Now this park had a wall on the left side, and the main street directly in the back. There was another street to the right behind the field. When you first reach the park, there's a few benches, a basketball court ahead, horseshoe poles, and a nice big field. We were just hanging out and snacking on some of the food we brought along, but then, out of nowhere, there's a man on a bike watching us from around the corner near the main street. We thought that maybe he was just stopping for some shade, or seeing if the park was crowded, you know. I called over my cousin and had her get closer to us, just to be safe, and asked her if she wanted to go home. She didn't, but I got her to sit down and eat, so that she wouldn't see what was going on anyways. After a few minutes he left. Woohoo, what a relief, right? Well, after about 5 minutes, he came back, except he got closer. He rode from the sidewalk of the main street to the basketball court, still watching us. Alright, I'm even more uncomfortable. He starts circling the benches where we were gathered at. At this point, he was close enough to the point where I could see that he was obviously some kind of junkie. He had long, greasy, nappy hair, scruffy facial hair. He was dirty with scars all over, and reeked of who knows what. He was also dressed like a 5-year-old picked up an outfit from a trash can. He made my stomach churn, and I just got some weird vibes from him. I noticed a white band over his wrist, the kind you get when you're admitted into a hospital. In my head, this guy had either just left a health facility, or he went a while ago and never took it off. I'm pretty sure it was the first choice. I told my cousin that we had to go home right now. We slowly started gathering our things, but then this guy started talking to us. He told us that he was Jesus reborn, and that I looked like the kind of girl that would know about God. He then went on and on about ending the world, and how his son was a rock star, and made more hits than the Beatles and Elvis combined. Alright, cool, you're crazy, Jesus man. He started asking my cousin about her Hello Kitty shirt, and if she liked it. We started leaving at this point because why would you start a conversation with young kids alone at a park? Unless you had bad intentions, right? We thought he'd go away if we ignored him. But nope. He started screaming at us and calling for the Hello Kitty girl as he followed us on his bike. At some points he'd ride past, turn around, and repeat. Luckily the gods were with us that day because there was a man working on his car with his garage open. I wasn't sure what to do, but my boyfriend wrapped his arms around me and my cousin and guided us towards my neighbor. "Hey, how are you? Long time no see," my boyfriend said. At first I didn't understand, but I played along and so did the garage man. We got up close and entered his garage. We told him that this cracked up Jesus man had been following us and being an all-round creeper. Garage man scared him off, our savior. Garage man introduced himself as Dante and told us that he has kids of his own that go to the parks alone all the time. He'll keep an eye on the kids more often. He ended up walking us home once we knew Jesus man was completely out of sight. We ended up never going to that park again unless we were with an adult. I am so thankful for Dante and my smart-thinking middle school boyfriend. If it weren't for either of them, my cousin and I could have been caught up in an unfortunate situation. So Jesus man, if you're even still alive, let's not meet you, creep. 3. For a bit of context, I was around 4 or 5 years old when this happened to me and my family. There's not all that many details that I can remember with that much clarity. What I'm about to write about is based on both what my dad and older brother have told me about the events, plus what I recall to the best of my knowledge. We lived in an industrial town in Victoria, Australia, that was ironically dubbed Sunshine, and the neighborhood I used to live in wasn't exactly that far away from any of the big factories or warehouses that seemed to take up most of the real estate. The home we owned was decent enough for the 3 of us. It was once 4 before my mom passed of cancer in 2000. But the house next door to us was owned by the Salvation Army, made for less wealthier families who would live there for a while before eventually moving on to someplace else. Many of these families were either immigrants who had lived there for a couple of months to get settled in before they were able to support themselves financially, and houseos, a very affectionate name we Australians give to those who live in these types of low-budget government homes. In other words, bogans. While many of these families were nice people, that being the immigrant families, there definitely were a few small or large families that were horrible, to say the least. Whenever these rougher tenants would live next door to us, the police were often a local sight, as they were always called over to settle down their very loud domestic disputes that happened next door on what seemed to be a daily occurrence. One of these families, though, is why I'm talking about this. The family consisted of 2 parents and a pair of kids, if I'm to remember correctly. Both these kids had to be around my brother's age, a boy 2 years my senior at the time. These 2 seemed to invite themselves over since we were the only kids in the entire neighborhood that seemed somewhat keen to really meet them. The 2 kids were brother and sister, the older sister being the far nicer one of the pair. While it pains me, I can't recall anything about what she was like. I have no issue in saying that the younger brother didn't leave the best impression on me. He was an aggressive 7-year-old kid who used to swear and would often threaten me with violence for the smallest of things. When you're a kid of 5 who's also affected with Asperger's syndrome, you don't know how to even express how you're feeling to your folks, which is probably why I've never told my dad what this kid used to say to me. until years later, when we weren't even living in that house anymore. As for the parents, they didn't do that much except stay at home. I never recall these two ever heading out to work or anything of the sort. They never did anything about stopping their kids getting up to no good either, except when they annoyed them at home and scolded them very loudly. The family itself, like the many aggressive ones before them, never kept the place in the best shape. I can't imagine how many times repairmen and clean-up crews have been over once these families moved out, just to patch up the same spots of torn-out carpet or plaster over holes in the walls. My dad would come over when they weren't around to close their garage door, only to find furniture and garbage bags of used clothes. It was clear that these guys, like the few before them, didn't give a shit about the house. I wouldn't be surprised if all this neglect and level of disrespect was why these bogan families never stayed put until the supervisors got fed up with their antics and kicked them out, just to send them someplace else and let the whole thing repeat over. A few months in after this one particular family moved into that home, it wasn't long until we realized that someone was breaking into our home and helping themselves to what we had. Since my dad had to go into the city to work and my older brother and I went to another town to go to school, the house would often be left empty for hours, sometimes even the entire day. Even when we had a security system set up in our home, whoever it was kept breaking in and finding a way to disable it. It was just small things at first, like helping themselves to the ice creams we had in the freezer and leaving the paddle pop sticks on the ground, to taking much larger things we owned. One day we came home to find that someone stole our PlayStation, and another time my dad went to the garage and found many of his tools missing. As you can guess, the police became involved with investigating the constant break-ins and thefts. And I can't exactly remember if they caught whoever it was. It's a bit of a no-brainer to say the family next door were the culprits, or even people involved with these folks, but I guess I was too young to really figure it out. Their last and final break-in was one I can remember very clearly, and even thinking about it now and what it implied honestly makes me feel uneasy that someone would even do this to someone. We returned home a bit later in the afternoon, and we were greeted by the faint odor of gas. My dad told us to wait outside, and ran into the kitchen to find all 4 burners on the stovetop turned on, and the oven on and open. And on the bench top beside it was a lighter taped on its side. It was obvious that the lighter used to be lit for a small period of time, as there was a burn mark on the bench. We spent the next few days in a local hotel while the police went to sort things out. Our lovely neighbors, of course, weren't at their home, nor did they ever return home after a week of the police hanging out in the area. These guys fled the house they destroyed themselves, but not before they left us a personal goodbye in our own. From there on out, I don't recall what happened involving the people that lived next to us. I don't remember hearing about the police making an attempt to locate the family, nor if they ever found them. Eventually, we moved out of Sunshine in 2003 to a much better place in the southeastern region of Melbourne, leaving that house far behind us. Compared to living out there, the house I'd spent a good amount of my life in was far better, especially with our neighborhood being so chill and nice. But to the family who threatened us, stole from us, and tried to burn down our house and made a run for it, for the love of God, I hope we never meet. Hey everyone, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 242. Thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Ooh, I'm very, very tired. I'm surviving on 3 hours sleep and a number of cat naps. I had to stay up today waiting for a plumber to arrive. I'm recording this Well, very early Friday morning, but I was up most of Thursday waiting on that plumber arriving. The guy came, fixed the problem, took a bit of efforts, but he got it fixed for us. It just meant I had very little rest and it kind of ruined my Thursday, but that's the way these things go sometimes. I'll just drop it in this video. I'm not going to keep harping on about it. I just want to let folks know who might be interested, so I'll do it maybe once a week for the next couple of weeks. I have a VidMe account. I just want to stress, I'm not leaving this website. I'm perfectly happy to continue working here. I just want to essentially have a backup of my account on another website. So I've chosen VidMe. It seems quite popular as an upcoming website. So that's just Hellfreezer over there like I am over here. And I'm essentially just in the process of backing up my account. So if you'd like to follow me on there, please do. Okay, and with that, I think I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.